Hey Carmen, what's cooking? So this is going to be the first actual Hey Carmen, what's cooking video taking place in the kitchen right here in Carmen. I don't know how often I'll be able to feature these things, but we're going to try and show you some things that are from around the world. We're going to show you some stuff just using local items that we can find here in town. And yeah, we'll go where the journey takes us. So today we are going to experiment with a dish called beef rendang. It's a Malaysian dish, and according to CNN poll some time ago, was in the top 10. I think it's like number 5 or number 6 of the all-time favorite dishes around the world. So we are going to attempt to make that. I've got pretty much everything that I need that's relatively authentic. Sometimes you can forego having certain things, and sometimes, if you don't have it, don't even attempt it, because it's just not worth your time. So let's begin by taking a look at what we've got going on here. I've got a piece of beef. This is a sirloin tip. Normally it would call for the likes of a beef chuck roast, because this is going to cook for probably 4 hours. Don't worry, the video won't last that long. But I couldn't find chuck in town anywhere, at Co-op or even at the All Natural Meats. But we've got a sirloin tip. I think it'll do okay for what we're attempting here today. So we've got some shallots, salt, tamarind puree. We've got some old palm sugar, lemongrass. We've got a handful of dried spices here, like cinnamon stick, star anise, cloves, kaffir lime leaves. So those are so delicious. In a little bit, we've got some galangal, not something you typically find. Looks kind of like ginger, but isn't. Some more lemongrass that we're going to throw into the curry once it gets going. We've got some cayenne peppers. These are, having not made the dish, I'm told that because of the length of cooking, some of the heat just disappears off these. Otherwise, if I'm wrong, Sherry's going to die because it's going to be crazy hot. And we've got a good sized chunk of ginger that we're going to throw in there. And I lost a piece of my lemongrass here. We can't have that. And we've got some coconut milk. So the first thing that we're going to do is start with assembling the goods for the curry. So I'm going to take a break and go get my blender, the food processor, and yeah, we'll be back in a second. Okay, so we're back. So the first thing we need to do is throw in these chilies, and I got to take the stems off the top, which I'll do, and I'll use that as my discard dish. No stem, in it goes. Actually, how fortunate was that? The particular brand I bought doesn't have any stems on the top, so in goes the roughly 12 chilies. And the next thing we're going to do is throw in some shallots. These are just local small shallots. I'll give them a quick cut in half just so they're easier in this little blender. My hope is that that it's all going to fit in this blender, but we'll see. I'll move this over for a second and get the blender just slightly out of the way. There we go. I've already pre-chopped some of my galangal. Now, the galangal, you don't normally find that laying around Carmen. You're going to have to go hunt that stuff down in a place like Lucky's in Winnipeg. I'm just prepping a good sized chunk of ginger here. I'm just going to coarse peel it first, and then of course chop it. Galangal, on the other hand, as long as it's been cleaned properly, the skin isn't going to be much of a problem, but you don't want this whole crusty skin off the ginger. And then I'm just going to coarse chop it and throw it in there. So there, we'll split it down the middle. Chunk, chunk, and away we go. But yeah, that thing is starting to look pretty full. But we'll see what happens when it starts to blend down. Discard bowl here. And then on top of that, we need to have, we got that. Oh, and some lemongrass, that's got to go in there. Typically you want to use the bottom piece of this lemongrass. Like I've got some already chopped up in advance. Normally, because this is another one of those things that you don't find always at town co-op, carry these stalks. You just want a thin slice and only use the bottom end of the lemongrass. I've got a few other stalks that I'm going to be using up once I go to assemble the curry. But for this stuff, I'm just kind of dicing it up a little bit just so it fits inside the blender. And we'll see where it goes from there. So let's get this up there. See if we can't give this a spin. And of course, if this thing fails, well, I'll just have to pull it the blender. It's going. I'm gonna want this a little more minced than that, but I wanted to get some more of this lemongrass in there. Oh yeah, well that didn't work. So we're gonna say that was a failure. Okay, so now we're back with the big blender because yeah, that didn't work. So we'll use this one here. Won't take long with this. I think I'll go a little bit more. Oh yeah, now we got those peppers in there. I can smell those pretty good. So we are going to just leave this like this. I'm going to unplug the blender and I'm going to move it off to the side because we don't need this stuff quite yet. We got a little bit of prep work that we're going to do. So first things first, let's cut up this meat. All right, so let's take this here chunk of meat, put this off to the side. And we're looking for about 1 inch and a quarter type cubes. Consistency is important to make it cook accordingly. So all I'm doing is cutting across the grain at this point in that, and then I'll chunk it out accordingly. So we should have, you know, I could probably cut that down the middle. That. We got a little bit of a skin on the outside. I don't like the looks of that. I'll cut it off. Cut it in half. No, I can't wait to try this. It's funny, is a guy that's cooked from all around the planet. That looked like a piece of the foam of the packaging there. How did that get in there? I was quite surprised that I'd never heard of this dish. And it's kind of a pretty simple thing, like we're gonna eat it with a bowl of rice and that'll be about it. I'm just going to take that skin off there. Okay, so we've got this butt done. I'm going to turn the wok on. You can cook this in like basically a big Dutch oven or something like that, but I just got a new wok and I want to test drive it, and it can be cooked in a wok, so that's what we're going to do. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to brown this meat in the wok, get it up to heat, and then once it's cooked, I'm just going to take it out of there, set it off to the side, and then we're going to cook the curry. We need the old wok flipper. Ooh, doesn't that meat look good? I'm a little concerned that there's just not enough connective tissue. Maybe it's not quite the same as a blade roast, but this was the only kind of meat that I thought would do it. I have seen some videos where they've used the beef tenderloins to do this. Now, the little bit that I know from the research is that there's a synergy that happens here. Two things. You're rendering this pretty thick, watery sauce down slowly over time until it just becomes a glaze that sticks to the meat. There's no liquid left in the pan when it's said and done. And then at the same time, and if all goes well and it happens at the same time, the beef has now become tender from that long stewing process. So they'll use tenderloin that can get it there quickly, and then they just thin the sauce with a higher temperature. But this is cooked over a slow period of time to soften up that chuck meat. So throw a little bit of oil in the wok. And I'm just going to cook this in a couple of simple small batches. And I'll throw a little bit of salt and pepper on it. Maybe 2 batches. Pepper. And a bit of salt. And all we want to do is just kind of brown this around the edge. That's me just adjusting the recipe over there. Boy, even just salt and pepper on a piece of beef, stir frying in a wok smells delicious. Okay. Those off to the side. Scrape those in. A little more salt and pepper. While that's cooking, I'm going to get the I put that there in front of there. Anyhow, now you can see that's what the inside of that's going to look like. I have no idea what that was. Oh, almost done. Okay, so that's browning the beef. Now we're just going to let this wok heat up just a little bit more. I'm going to put just a small amount of oil back in the wok. We'll let that heat up, and then we're going to transfer in the paste contents. Oh yeah. This got me good. And this is the really sad part about when you're doing these things, that you just cannot be here to smell this when it goes in there and starts its rendering of flavors. And oh, that's so awesome. Oh man, you can start to smell some of those peppers. But hey, it's supposed to not be crazy spicy when it's all said and done. All right. Oh yeah. Golly, this is smoking. Oh, look at that. I just discovered something over here. I discovered that I didn't put in my garlic, which is not good. But we'll fix that right quickly. Luckily for me, I have a knife close by. Won't be quite as fine as the puree of the blender, but that's okay. Over the cooking time, it'll be great. Sweat this out. Pardon me a little bit more. That's me coughing from the peppers. And add a couple of scallop or the shallots left. I'm going to use them as well. Close up there. That'd be better. Okay. We are just about ready. Things are toasted up here nicely. So now that we've got that paste and some of the oils and that, I'm taking away any extra liquid that might have been in there. Now I'm going to add the beef back in. I'm going to throw in a couple of these here lemongrass stalks, but we're going to bash them up on the backside first. This releases the oils. These aren't going to be eaten. We're going to take these out later on. And because they're nice and big, you'll be able to see them, because this plant is particularly chewy if you try and eat it like this. So we just bash it up a little bit, get the oils out. Now we're going to throw in the coconut milk in the spatula. And it's pretty common for coconut milk to seal up like that with the solids. Don't let that throw you out. I'm going to turn my heat down just a little bit, because now we just want to get into this slow simmering here. So now I'm going to add the sugar. Salt. This here is our whole spices and the cardamom ground. And our kaffir lime leaves. We just finely dice those. And our little bit of a tamarind paste or puree. Hang on, I'm going to get a spoon. Pardon me, that's from the peppers. If you saw some of my cooking in Thailand episodes from the past, you'd have seen that similar coughing effect. Okay, so now that's basically the hard part. What we're going to do now is put a lid on this, and we're going to just let it slowly simmer over the next probably about 3 to 4 hours, rendering that down in about an hour and a half's time, hour 15 minutes. I'm going to take the lid off, and then we're going to really cook that sauce. But at this moment, all we want to do is a gentle simmer on that meat that's in there. Okay. Oh, and by the way, thanks for watching. And if you've watched any others, I appreciate that as well. And I'm also told, if you like what I'm doing, hit the like button. And if you got any questions or comments, don't be afraid to throw them out there, because I'd love to answer some. Anyhow, see you in a little bit. Okay, I'm back. Now it's been roughly about an hour and 45 minutes. This has been just slow simmering away here. And now I'm taking the lid off, and we start the next hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes of rendering this down to just nothing in the way of sauce. So I'll pick up the heat just a little bit, and then we'll start the rendering process. We will not be monitoring this all along the way as far as the camera goes, but I'll have to be watching it a little bit closer. I was off doing other things, video editing and stuff, so that's where we're at now. So see you back in a little bit. Once we get a little closer, I'll turn this back on. Oh, That's because I didn't wear that on the first half of the video. I forgot to plug the microphone. We're getting all sophisticated here, and I don't realize all the equipment I've got. So hopefully the sound is a little bit better. I did test drive the first thing just to see how it wasn't too bad. So we'll keep improving our skill sets as we move along. All right, we'll see you in a bit. Okay, so yeah, we're moving along here. You can see it's starting to thicken up. I've been able to, you know, just come back and check it every 15 minutes or so, but it is starting to show signs of where you're going to have to watch it because it wants to stick to the bottom, but it smells really good. I did dip a spoon in it to taste it. The flavor is awesome. I do think it has a bit more bite than Sherry's going to be able to handle, but we're still probably about an hour and a half away from completion. Like this is still quite runny, but we're going to bring the temperature up a little bit. And I think in about an hour's time, I'll see if I can pull that meat apart because, like I said earlier, it requires both the meat to be tenderized and the sauce to run out at kind of the same time. And I mean, if the meat is done early and it's falling apart, that's bonus. I can bring the temperature up and just constantly stir it until I render it down. But if the sauce runs out and the meat is still not there yet, then it'll be up to me to throw a little bit of water in there just to keep that simmering until it happens. So yeah, stay tuned. Okay, so we're probably close to the 3.5 hour, 45 minute mark. The sauce is definitely starting to thicken up. Probably got only about 10-15 minutes more before there's not much in here to be stir frying. But I did sample a piece of the beef. Oh man, it's a different taste. But it's not what I would classify as complete fall apart, so I'm going to add a little bit more water in here just to give that a little bit more time to simmer down. So I probably added another 35-40 minutes to the cook time. And I don't know if that's because I had to use the sirloin tip or what, but we haven't got what I would call equilibrium regarding tenderness of meat and lack of sauce. So we'll go a little bit longer, and I'll keep you posted as to how it's working out. Okay, I think that this is done probably as far as it's going to go. You can still see, like when I'm stirring around here, I mean it's dried up pretty good. I think all that's left is the and every now and then I just see a fiber of whoops, that's not fiber, of the lemongrass. But I would say that this is about as dry as I'm going to get it. The rest of it, here's a piece of that lemongrass. And now it's just a matter of setting it up for plating, and I think that's pretty straightforward. A little over a bed of rice with a couple of slices of lime to squeeze on top of it. But it looks pretty dry, and it definitely darkened up, so I have sampled it along the way. I have tested another piece of meat. It's not crazy chewy, but I've got nothing to benchmark it against. So luckily this winter we'll be going back to Thailand, where I'm pretty sure somewhere in that area I'll be able to find some. We're not going to Malaysia, but I'll let you know how this is once I plate it up and taste it. Stay tuned. Okay, I've shut everything off. I've plated it. This is what it looks like. Basically a couple slices of lime over some basmati rice. It looks relatively dry. I'm just going to give it a squeeze of one of these here limes. Ooh, juicy, juicy, juicy. We'll consider that well squeezed out. And now moment we've all been waiting for. Yeah, that little piece of meat's kind of falling apart. Yeah. I wouldn't say that meat is completely tender, but golly, is that flavor ever something. Well, there you have it. Thanks for tuning in. Got any questions? Give me a call. I think this is going to be too hot for Sherry, but a little more for me. Anyhow, thanks for watching. It's been kind of fun. Bye.